What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Visionation. Today's topic of discussion will be 5 lessons that I learned as a 6-figure entrepreneur. In business, when you come into a business, if you start your own business or if you're working for someone or working in a company, like, you will have problems and issues that you need to deal with. So today we're discussing the 5 main things that I learned while being in a 6-figure business. So the thing I do is actually service accommodation. So I'm a partner and a operations manager in our company, which is a global brand. We're based in UK, so locations such as Birmingham, Liverpool, Glasgow, and also overseas in Dubai, and we manage over 100 properties. So that's my basic day-to-day thing that I do full time. And over the years, I've learned a lot of things, made a lot of mistakes, and also had a lot of wins in that time. So I'm going to share some of those with you today. So the first thing is the worst days in your business, or the worst days that you have, the ones that teach you the most. In those situations, when I was first in those situations, like, I would be quite stressed out and, quite overwhelmed and, dealing with those things. So for example, in our business, we deal a lot with customers, and it's customer facing, customer based. So, you have to deal with a lot of care in that. And customers, the main rule is customers are always right. So you always have to treat them with the utmost respect, and also have to, listen to what they have to say and accept what they're saying. Like, if they're being rude to you or like very inconsiderate, then okay, like, you don't have to listen to them if they're doing that. Like, you can be politely ask them to calm down or something like that. But if they have a valid reason and there's issues going on, like, you have to listen to what they're saying, and you have to, take that into your stride and try to help them out as best as you can and provide them a solution. So the main thing that you need to do, if there's a stressful situation with a customer or there's an issue, you need to find out what the problem is from them, and then you need to offer alternative solution. If you can't fix that problem, you offer something better, equivalent. So many cases in our situations, if there's an issue, let's say with the cleaning, the apartment hasn't been cleaned and guest has gone there and they're really frustrated, they've just come off a long flight and they just want to sleep, but the apartment hasn't been cleaned due to some sort of issue, whatever it may be in the cleaner, or no cleaning was arranged or something, and that's the systems issue and process issue. That's a separate thing. So in that situation, you have to deal with something which is the customer. And what you can do, for example, like, I would offer them a cleaner if possible at that same time, but that's very unlikely because, if it's late at night, for example, then offer them some sort of compensation or a refund and offer a clean the next morning. That's how we deal with that situation. However, stuff like that, or something more serious where something is wrong with the apartment, there's no access into the apartment, or something happens, they get locked out, like, those are high pressure situations and you need to sort something out. So in that situation, I would call out people, or contractors or someone, or like a locksmith, for example, to come and fix the issue. In the situation, like, it's high pressure and you can get overwhelmed, and I used to get stressed out quite a bit, but learning from that, like, taking those issues on board, you realize where you went wrong. So for example, like the cleaning situation, the cleaning wasn't scheduled because it's not linked to your listing, for example, or it was missed by one of the staff or something like that. You know what the issue is and the problem, and then for next time you're not going to make that mistake. So this has happened, and that's your experience. So you gain that experience from making those mistakes and being in those situations that are the worst days, and you feel like everything is against you, and all the customers are like, screaming and shouting at you, and everything's going wrong, and your business is falling apart. But that teaches you lessons, because somewhere down the line you've made a mistake, or you've basically not taken into account certain things, and that's caused you for the current situation that's occurring. So then you go and fix that situation, you go fix that issue you had, or create a process for it, create something for that, and then that way you won't make that mistake again, and something will be in place to prevent that in the future. And that's what it is. Your worst days teaches you something that you're going to prevent in the future, and you'll know from then on that you're gonna do that. Even in my podcast, for example, I've had episodes where I've recorded it and the sounds come out dodgy, or the camera's been off and the battery's died, for example. Stuff like that happens, and now I know if I made that mistake, that next time I'm not going to do it. So it's ingrained in your head, and you always learn a lesson from it. So that's the first lesson that I would say. Second thing is I'd say managing people, and a lot of people say this, like people that are in management roles. Managing people is probably the hardest thing to do as an entrepreneur, but it's also the most rewarding. So managing people, like, it's difficult because everyone is different and everyone has different experiences, and there may be certain days where people are a bit more stressed and anxious, and they've had a bad day and they end up being unhappy about it, or not doing their work as well, and you've got to manage that. And everyone is different, and you've got to understand everyone differently and know that not everyone works the same, so you can't paint everyone with the same brush. So in my team, I work with like housekeeping staff, for example, and they all work under me, and also operations team. Like they might be unhappy and they might have stuff going on outside, and that's affecting their work, but I have to deal with it with compassion and also understanding, but also with a bit of scrutiny and ruthlessness, because it's a business. At the end of the day, you're getting paid to do a job. So I have to approach it like, okay, look, you made this mistake. Why did you, like, is there anything happening like in your personal life, like what's going on? And then they'll give the reason for it. If there's no excuse, then I have to, you either need to, if it's a really bad mistake, you either need to, put them on a warning, or maybe even going as far as sacking them. Like, you need to understand how to manage the situation. And that also comes with experience anyway. Like at the start, you might not be as good at it. And that's why managerial roles are usually with people that are gaining experience climbing through the ladders and then reaching a manager role where they know how to deal with people. So you need to make sure that you're looking out for your business and yourself, and make ruthless decisions, but at the same time you need to be understanding of that person, and you don't know what they're going through. But it's not a charity, it's a business, so you need to understand and take your best interest in there, and deal with it accordingly. But at the same time, like if you deal with someone and they made a mistake and you treat them with the compassion and you show them like this is the right way, look, I'm gonna have to put you on warning for this because it's a really bad mistake, but you can learn from it, and the next time they'll know, like, this is the mistake I made, I won't want to do it again because the boss treated me so kindly. Like I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna disappoint again, or I'm gonna make sure I'm work better, and you're gonna reap the benefits. Like if you're kind to your staff. But if you're not very nice to your staff and you're not managing people in the right way and you're acting like, I don't know, like a dictator or something, like it's not good, and they will rub people the wrong way and they will start resenting you. Like at the same time, you don't want to be the guy that's like always nice to everyone and they treat you like a friend, because then it gets very technical. Like they'll start seeing you as a friend, and it won't work that well. So you have to have that balance. You have to have that ruthlessness, but also you need to have compassion at the same time, and they need to know you're the boss, but then you need to show that you're also someone they can come to and discuss any issues they have and be fully transparent with. But yeah, that's where it comes to getting the reward from it. Like when you deal with these people and then they come back to you with excellent work and they do their job really well and they go above and beyond, that makes you happy as a boss. And managing people, like that's like the main thing. And then you see them happy and you see them you're putting food on the table for them technically, because you're paying their bills, you're paying their wage and they're paying their bills. Like that gives you contentment then, because you're providing something to them, you're giving them a job opportunity, but then they're also doing really good work for you, and it's a win-win situation. But you have to gain the experience from it and you have to tackle it and, go from there. So going back, linked to the first point, the third point is in high pressure situations, you need to take a step back and then attack it. So I kind of covered this on the first point, which was like, when you have a high pressure situation, you need to understand what the problem is. You need to see like, what kind of, can I fix it? And if not, what's the alternative and what's the solution? So let's say in your business, you have a really bad issue like that's happening in the day, and you need to drop everything else for it in order to fix the situation. An example in my business would be one of the times there was a guest, they checked in and the electricity wasn't working in the apartment, and at that time we had prepaid meters and stuff, and normally you'd have to top it up online for it to work. So I did that and it still didn't work. The meter was showing it was all right, and then we've like gone into the apartment and we've looked around and it's not working, and the customer's getting really pissed off, and it's been like hours and hours and hours, and I was like panicking, like what do I do? It ended up that they ended up leaving us and going somewhere else, but then it turned out that there was like a main switch that had been switched off by the previous guest, and that wasn't checked, which sounds like really silly and really stupid, but mistakes were made, and that's what caused them to leave, and we lost that amount of money. But in that situation, what I could have done better, there was in my early days, but what I could have done better was attack it properly, like take a step back and just relax and understand, like, okay, what's the next thing I can do? Like, for example, I could have called up the electrical company and like, said, look, I've made the top up and stuff like that, and why is it still not working? Then maybe they would have advised me, like, go check the fuse board or something, or go check this and go check that. I could have attacked it that way, like go check the meter, call the company up, and then also check the apartment itself and see if there's anything there and attack it that way, and then going through all those steps and then seeing if it's still not working and then trying something else. But if I tried those things, then I probably would have found out that the switch was off and then switched it back on and it would have worked. But that's the thing, I got really overwhelmed and I just dived into it like, oh, what do I do? I don't want to lose this customer. I keep them and shoot myself in the foot, and they ended up leaving. So it's really important when you get into high pressure situations, it's not the end of the world, and you have to remember when you are in those situations that this is going to end up teaching me something really big, because you learn from your worst day. So just take a step back, attack the situation with critical thinking and logically attack it. Don't get too overwhelmed by it. Take it slowly, attack the main points, you know what you need to cover to attack that situation and then get a solution from it. So the fourth lesson I learned as an entrepreneur in a six-figure business is just because you're doing something doesn't mean you're necessarily productive. For example, if I have team meetings every single day with my team, that doesn't make me productive, because you don't need to have like too many meetings. You need to have a team meeting. You should have team meetings with your teams like every week, or every once in a while, just to see how they're going and everything. But if you have a team meeting every week and it's like dragging on for like an hour, 2 hours, like you're just wasting your time, because you're talking when you could be working and doing other things and being productive. But because you're in the meeting every single day, you're like, oh look, I got this meeting now, oh, I'm going to be busy. You just think you're busy, but you're just being a busy fool, because you're just doing these things where that's not actually benefiting you. How we operate, and a lot of people operate in businesses, they focus a high level, they focus on income generating tasks. So you need to think, is this task I'm doing, is it going to make me money? Is it going to make money for the business? And if your answer is no, then it's likely a task that you don't need to do, or you need to outsource to a VA or to one of your staff to get them to do those tasks, for example, admin tasks or emails and stuff like that. So as an entrepreneur, you need to be focused on the income generating tasks. So in that situation, then you do not need to have those team meetings, or you can just have your team reporting to you every day, and end of shift report or something like that. So then you know what they're up to and what they're doing, and they can carry on with their day and do their things, and you can focus on growing your business and scaling your business. So that's a really important thing to consider. Another thing is, for example, my business, property business and service accommodation. A lot of the times I would be running around doing things, because it's a customer-based business and there's stuff can go wrong. I'll be running around like, let me fix this, let me fix that, let me go do this, let me do that, and half my day's gone, and before I even know it. But if I planned it or outsourced that, then it will save me so much of my time, and maybe it would cost a bit more, but I would be able to focus on growing the business rather than just going and firefighting every day. So that's the main thing, like firefighting and being busy when it's not really required, when you can be smart about it. That's how you should be, and that's taught me a lot in business. That leads on to my fifth and final point, which is plan ahead and execute, but also prioritize correctly. If you have a lot of tasks to do the next day, you need to prioritize beforehand, and I talk about this a lot. You just plan ahead. You write down the day before or the week ahead. Like on a Sunday, you plan ahead your week. You write down the main things that you have to do, and then you fill in the gaps with other tasks that you may need to do. That's planning ahead, and that ensures that you're not wasting that much time, and you're getting the most out of your time and your value for your business. Another thing with that is how you decide like which task you need to do. If you have multiple tasks, is the priority. So you have tasks that are urgent, you have tasks that are important. So you have urgent and important, or they are either going to be not urgent and not important. So they go into the 4 categories, right? So there's urgent and important not important, important but not urgent, and then not urgent or important. So you have urgent and important tasks, which are the most high priority ones, right? So those are the ones that you do first. You tackle them first in your day or in your week. You take them on and you complete them first, right? That's your most high priority. And then you have tasks that are important but not so urgent. So you have them, you schedule them ahead of time. So you have important tasks that you need to do complete by the end of the week. You schedule it in so you can do that on a certain day. And that's your second priority, basically. And then you have the third, which is not so important, but it's urgent to do. So you have to then delegate that and outsource that to your staff, your VAs, whoever you have working for you, or contractors, wherever it is. So you'll delegate that task to them because it's urgent but it's not important, and you don't need to do it as the business owner or as an entrepreneur. And then you have the tasks that are not urgent or important, you don't do them at all. That's the ones you don't need to do. If something that needs to be done eventually, or something part of your business that's going to improve, then you just delegate that, like number 3 as well. So that's how you need to work through the priorities and your tasks, and planning ahead and executing. And that's one of the main things I learned as well, because I used to go into the business sometimes unorganized, not scheduling my day, and I'll just wake up and then go to work and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was just wasting my time. And that makes you want to procrastinate as well, because you don't really know what you're doing. But once you plan ahead and you execute that and you do your task in the correct order of priority, then you'll clear out your day and you won't even realize how much work you've got done. And if you take on every day like that, you'll be going to the next level. While if you're not organized and not planning ahead, then you'll be stuck in the same place and have very slow progress. So that, guys, is the 5 most important things I learned as a 6-figure entrepreneur. Let me know your favorite lesson below in the comments, and if you learn anything as an entrepreneur, please leave that also in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell icon if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.